And I'm just excited to talk ball.
Yeah, a lot going on down here. Really, there's that cloud over the entire camp of saying, are they going to do something or are they not going to do something? You want to evaluate. You want to look at Matos and J.D. Davis and Ramos and the new guys who are here. But there's always that moment. Are they going to do anything? And now with Bellinger signing today with I think a club-friendly contract with the Cubs, with a couple of opt-outs in there. I think it opens the door for the Giants, and I just have that feeling something is going to happen.
Yeah, I feel the same way, Marty. I mean, when that came through late last night, I was sitting in my room just contemplating, oh, wow, all right, the Giants, it's go time. Like, they're going to do a move, whether it be Chapman, whether it be Snell, whether it be Jordan Montgomery, man. I mean, I'm ready for any of these guys to get in there because now you see what the price tag is for a potential Matt Chapman, potential Blake Snell. So I'm excited. I mean, we're moving in day 2 of Cactus League. We got Bruce Bochy on the other side in Surprise, Arizona. I'm just really excited. It's the time of optimism, and even more so now with the first domino, the dam breaking for the Boris 4.
Well, it's funny. You never know where things are going to go. Yeah. Did you have the Rangers and Diamondbacks on your bingo card last year for the World Series?
Absolutely not. I mean,
come on,
that's
really?
That's the beauty of baseball, man, is that you never know how it's going to unfold. And I know a lot of people were high on Bruce Bochy, right, because he has that championship pedigree, but as soon as Jacob deGrom went down for the year, I mean, that was a daunting task, and they ended up winning the whole thing. And
come on,
yeah, the representative for the National League, Marty, yeah, I would have never had the Diamondbacks representing the National League.
No, come on, I saw him down here, and I'd never believe it. So it was crazy, yeah. But tomorrow, Mason Black pitches tomorrow. This is a big few days coming up, I will tell you that, Walter. Oh, yeah. Mason Black has a shot here. And Wynn is probably going to start throwing again, and if he's ready by the end of spring training. But they're going to slow play him, I'm sure. Once you have a little bit of an elbow thing. So Mason Black may be the next guy up, and he's going to pitch tomorrow against the Angels. And then Soler, Luciano, and Lee will be playing by the end of Tuesday. Those guys should be playing. So this is an interesting week coming up of Giants baseball.
Yeah, definitely a very interesting time to really pay attention to everything that's going on in Scottsdale and Arizona for the Giants, like you mentioned, with Jorge Soler due to make his debut next year. Actually, by the way, happy birthday, feliz cumpleaños to Jorge Soler today.
Yeah.
But Marco Luciano should be figuring to get back into the swing of things tomorrow as well. Jung-Hoo Lee on Tuesday. And yeah, like you mentioned, this is a huge stretch to see what the Giants pitching rotation is going to project to be this year. It's important, I think, that Keaton Wynn is going to, obviously they're going to slow play him, but just to hear the news that he is going to begin to start throwing again in the next coming days, that is huge. It's critical to this Giants rotation that is just relying on a lot of young pieces to start the year, Marty. So, yeah, it all starts tomorrow. It even starts today with Kyle Harrison.
Yeah.
You got to see what he's looking like in spring. But you have Kyle Harrison, you have Mason Black, and you got Jordan Hicks coming up in the next couple of days.
Hicks is Wednesday.
So a lot to look at. Yeah,
yeah.
Sure.
Hicks is on Wednesday. We'll see him there. So yeah, a lot of good stuff coming up. This is going to be an interesting week of baseball. And the other guy I want to mention today, and Bob Melvin talked about it, and I played it earlier, is Tom Murphy. Doing the catching today. This, as Glenn Kuiper said, this guy's got power, and he is going to get some action here from the right side. And he plays today, and he's one of those muscle guys. And I did that little 2-minute interview with him today that I posted on Twitter. I said, "What's the deal with all the muscles?" He said, "I have to out-muscle my ability. So the more muscles I have, the less I have to worry about my ability." Funny guy. But he's in there today, so I just bring it up to the fans that it's something worth watching. Hey, have a great show today. Enjoy it, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Marty. Really appreciate it, man.
All right. Warm-up coming up with Walter Ikabalseta coming up right after these messages. Have a good week, everybody.
What's up, Giants fans, and welcome to the Giants warm-up show. I'm your host, Walter Ikabrasata, ready to talk some baseball for the 2024 season. We have one under our belt. I was excited yesterday. I mean, just to see everyone on the field. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch. And feel free to also hit me up on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Walleezy. Go ahead and shoot me some comments there. How you feeling after watching the first game of spring training with the Giants? I know that their offense kind of struggled a little bit, but we had Otto Lopez hit a home run late in the game in the ninth inning. He's someone that figures to get into that infield drama with Casey Schmidt and Marco Luciano and Tyler Fitzgerald, who is leading off today for the San Francisco Giants. So welcome in, everyone. I'm so ready for baseball season. I mean, spring training, it is just the time of optimism. It's the time that everyone is just really excited. It's such a tease. I mean, it's such a all day or all week, rather, just watching everyone in the batting cage, fielding ground balls, catching fly balls in the outfield. I mean, it's just the sounds, the sights of baseball that gets everyone so jacked up, gets everyone so excited. So the build up to spring training always gets you jacked up as a baseball fan, as a Giants fan. And I'm just thrilled to be able to talk baseball with you all 2024 season. This is my debut, my rookie year as Marty mentioned earlier, for the Giants warm-up show. So, and yeah, just hearing the voices of our friends John Miller and Dwayne Kuiper yesterday on the call. I mean, that is just the signal that baseball is right around the corner, and we're really spoiled with who we listen to on the radio on KNBR. So welcome to the Giants warm-up show. We have a lot to uncover. The Giants are traveling to Surprise, Arizona, to take on their familiar friend, Bruce Bochy, former manager for the San Francisco Giants, three-time World Series champion with the San Francisco Giants, added a fourth last year with those Texas Rangers, and it was just it was a very interesting, very vintage Bochy, how the Rangers ended up getting that World Series championship. Because as I mentioned with Marty when we were talking, who had the Rangers and the Diamondbacks on their bingo card for the World Series? I know I absolutely did not. The odds for the Rangers were pretty favorable if you're a betting man going into the season. And then Jacob deGrom went down. There was no way that was going to happen how it did. But Bruce Bochy, he is the mastermind. He is a Hall of Fame manager, and he is on the other side in Surprise with the Texas Rangers. And the Giants go up there, and he's going to see his familiar Panda. Panda is getting the start today. Not in the field. He's not playing the field. He will be DHing, batting fifth. Excuse me. He's batting fifth in the lineup. And let's go over the Giants lineup right now as they take on Bruce Bochy and the Texas Rangers in Surprise. We have Tyler Fitzgerald leading off at shortstop. We have Tom Murphy, who is going to be a huge critical part of the San Francisco Giants moving forward into this year, because we saw what happened with Patrick Bailey. He broke down towards the end of the year. So to have a solidified piece in the Giants backstop, that is going to be crucial to success, because Patrick Bailey, he's great defensively. He is awesome. And he was pretty decent, I would say, at the plate. But again, at the end of the year, he just tailed off a little bit there. So to have someone to spell him every third day is going to be crucial. And Tom Murphy is a great catcher, so that's also a plus in that. So that's batting second. Third, we have Lamont Wade at first base. You have David Villar at third at the hot corner. And then, as I mentioned, the return of Pablo Sandoval, his return to the Giants, his debut of the spring in Surprise. He is batting fifth at the DH spot. Elliot Ramos, who he had a scare yesterday, he had a ball hit his knee. I believe it hit his knee. He was bruised up a little bit, but he will be back in the lineup in right field, and that's going to be a really interesting battle for that final outfield spot with Elliot Ramos and Luis Matos, who will be batting seventh. But in between Ramos and Matos, we got Wade Meckler in left field. So Luis Matos in center, Donovan Walton at second base, and pitching for your San Francisco Giants is Kyle Harrison. So let's go run through that lineup one more time because I got a little I was getting off on tangents. Let's go. Tyler Fitzgerald at shortstop, Tom Murphy center or catcher rather, batting second, Lamont Wade first base, hitting third, David VR batting cleanup at third base, Pablo Sandoval batting fifth at the DH spot. And you got Elliot Ramos batting sixth at right field, Wade Meckler left field, Luis Matos center field, and Donovan Walton at second with Kyle Harrison on the bump. So welcome to the Giants warm-up show. We have some reaction from game one of Cactus League action, and Bob Melvin wasn't too thrilled with the results of yesterday's game against the Cubs. The Giants lose 8-4. The offense really didn't get going until that final out of the game in the ninth inning with Otto Lopez hitting that 2-run home run to give the Giants their first home run of the season. It wasn't necessarily looking like Spencer Jones in in Tampa for the Yankees. He hit a tank. I don't know if anyone of you saw that on Twitter, but he hit a absolute bomb, 470 feet to right field. So it wasn't necessarily of that nature, but it was a decent shot for Otto Lopez. Again, he's going to figure into the playing time situation for backup infielder with Casey Schmidt, with Tyler Fitzgerald, who leads off today, and Marco Luciano is also in that role. He's going to get the starts, obviously, but they are all in competition at camp. But Bob Melvin wasn't necessarily thrilled with the results yesterday in Scottsdale, Arizona, the opener for spring training. He wasn't thrilled with the errors. He wasn't thrilled with the offense. He wasn't thrilled with any of the pitchers, because all pitchers that came into the game yesterday, minus Hayden Burnsog, who we'll talk about shortly, all pitchers gave up a run. And I know that, spring training, it's more about, you're getting your reps, getting your arm strength up. But it's telling about the change in the dynamic with Bob Melvin and this coaching staff, is that after day one, and he is just very displeased, there is a point of accountability for this Giants team. And I feel like that is going to be a breath of fresh air as we move on throughout spring and into the regular season. So accountability. But Logan Webb, I think that he looked really solid. He recorded two strikeouts. He has mentioned that he is going to try to hold on runners more effectively this year, to really drive home just the ability to get ground balls. And that's something that we saw in the first inning. Mike Tauchman led off with one pitch, fastball, hit it into left field, a dribbler pass, Casey Schmidt. And the next pitch after that, he induced a double play. So that is the bread and butter for Logan Webb. So I think that he looked great. He had good command. But yeah, that's going to be a point of emphasis, is holding on runners so that double play is more in play throughout the regular season. And even last year, I mean, he led all the majors in double plays induced with 30. So he was already effective in getting ground balls, but holding runners on at first will make it just even more drastic, and just improve his game overall. Because last year, guys were stealing bases, 20 stolen bases on Logan Webb versus 4 runners caught stealing. So anything that you can do, especially when you have Patrick Bailey, who he will be throwing to majority of the time, anytime that you can just level the playing field or give Patrick Bailey even that much of a half second to get up there, pop, and throw to second base, I think that you'll be able to pretty much freeze up the base paths with Logan Webb. So that's going to be a point of emphasis on Logan. He'll throw to Patrick Bailey for the most part, and like I said, just holding runners is going to be a huge point of emphasis. As I mentioned earlier, Elliot Ramos, he was hurt, exited the game in the fifth inning. But he will be in the lineup today. That is also just a thing when you're looking at spring training, is the importance of having everyone just get your reps. Obviously, there's competitions at camp, but you have to get through healthy. And everyone has been raving about Luis Matos and Elliot Ramos and having that battle for the last outfield spot. Because when you look at the outfield, I mean, it's pretty much lined up already. You got Jung-Hoo Lee in center field. He's going to be the everyday center fielder, or he's going to start and have that opportunity at the beginning of the year, which is great. I mean, that's what you want. That was the signing of this offseason for the San Francisco Giants. So Jung-Hoo Lee in center. And then in left field, it sounds like Michael Conforto is going to be their everyday left fielder. So that is encouraging as well, because I think over the years, the Giants, we have gotten used to having a platoon system. And I do think that there will be a little bit of that going on, obviously in right field with Yaz and Slater. But to have Conforto in there every day and to have him having at-bats, yesterday was his first at-bat against a lefty, and he worked the count. He looked really good. He worked a walk. So it's very encouraging to see that as well from Michael Conforto, who figures to be the everyday left fielder. So Elliot Ramos, you see where this year, and we've been talking about Elliot Ramos for years now, and Sean Jelly and Joey Bart. I mean, this is a spring where these guys really need to come on, and who knows what the future holds for Joey Bart with Patrick Bailey and Tom Murphy. But he is there in camp right now, and he's looking good. Everyone is excited to see what he can bring to the team. But you know, at this point for spring, you have to have depth. You have to have depth at that catcher position. So Patrick Bailey and Tom Murphy are there, but Joey Bart, I mean, he's going to be someone to watch for the remainder of spring training as well. But Ramos, he was hit yesterday, but he is in the lineup, so that is encouraging. That is very important, because I think that he needs, as well as Luis Matos, as they're battling for that last outfield spot, they're going to need as much reps as possible, so that the Giants coaching staff and evaluation staff can really take a deep look at these guys. I mean, it's telling that in both back-to-back games that Elliot Ramos and Luis Matos have been in the starting lineup, and I think that that's going to be something that we see all spring long. Just a couple of updates. I was talking with Marty at the beginning of the show as we were having a little crossover there. Jung-Hoo Lee, side soreness. Looks like he is aiming for a return on Tuesday, so that is important. I think that that's something that a lot of Giants fans are looking forward to this spring, to see what the kid could do, what he could do in his rookie campaign coming over from the KBO, a big signing for the San Francisco Giants. Marco Luciano and Jorge Soler, by the way, happy birthday to Jorge Soler today. They both figure to be back in action tomorrow on Monday. So that is something to watch as well. I already mentioned Otto Lopez hitting a home run, so he's factoring into that infield dynamic. We're going to take a look at him later today as well. He'll probably come off the bench, probably into the fourth, fifth inning. And the big takeaway from yesterday. A lot of takeaways from yesterday as well, but the biggest one was Hayden Birdsong. He looked really good, really electric, looked sharp coming in to the game. He had 2 strikeouts, he had 1 walk, but he looked really good. And this is someone that Bob Melvin, Brian Price, pretty much everyone in the know. I think Susan Slusser was on earlier this week talking with John Lund. They were talking pretty much. Hayden Birdsong is a huge component to this youth movement that we are seeing with the San Francisco Giants in the pitching rotation. So he is someone that finished in Double-A last year, and he figures to be a huge piece. Maybe not getting the starting nod or the opening day roster, but he does look to be a piece, a fixture in the possible rotation at some point this year. So this is a great day for Giants baseball in Surprise, Arizona. The Giants taking on the Texas Rangers with Bruce Bochy. And coming up next, because we did have a huge signing last night. Wasn't for the Giants. It was for the team that they were playing, Chicago Cubs, signing a 3-year deal with Cody Bellinger. What that means for the Giants moving forward, and the Boris 3 now, not 4, Boris 3, what that means moving forward into the rest of spring training. So you are listening to the Giants warm-up show on KNBR 104.5 and 680. I'm your host, Walter Icarreta, and coming up, we're going to break down the Boris remaining 3 and what the Giants need to do in order to get 1 or maybe 2 on this roster before opening day. So we're going to take a quick break talking about that on the other side. You're listening to KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader. All right, welcome back to the Giants warm-up show. I'm your host, Walter Icableceta. And for everyone listening on KNBR, AM and FM on the radio, Raph on the wheels, my guy, Rafael Corral. But keep this going. Don't fade it. Don't fade it. Like the song. Yeah. That means that it is time for Giants baseball. Giants baseball on the radio coming at you in a little bit under an hour, about 45 minutes. You're going to hear John Miller and Dwayne Kuiper, and that was Otto Lopez hitting the first home run of the San Francisco Giants spring, and it was a good one. It was a beefy one. Like I mentioned, it wasn't a Spencer Jones 470. I mean, that's pretty impressive, but it was a beefy one to a deep part of Scottsdale Stadium. So welcome back to the Giants warm-up show. I'm your host, Walter Icableceta, and on the text line, we're going to get into some some free agent talk here. I know that it's been beaten into everyone's mind over the last couple of days, but 703 on the text line wants to say they're welcoming me to the airwaves. So thank you, really appreciate it. It says JD Martinez is also represented by Boris, so that there is still a Boris 4 on the free agent board. Martinez hit 33 home runs and 103 RBIs last year. Yes, I'm aware of that, but 703. Are you aware that JD Martinez did not want to come to San Francisco? So I say the hell with him. It is a Boris 3 that we are talking about, the ones that we want to have in some orange and black at some point this year. So last night I was sitting. I think I was getting ready for bed because I was getting ready for a huge day of Giants baseball with Bruce Bochy, with Pablo Sandoval, Giants in Surprise, Arizona, for Game 2 of Cactus League action. And I was getting ready for bed, saw the tweet come in, Jeff Passan, and actually my guy Danny Dunn, who runs the board Papa and Lund with me 10 to 2 during the week on KNBR. He sent me the link. He actually kept me in the know. I didn't know about it. I was about 7 minutes late to the party. And here we go. 3-year deal, $80 million for Cody Bellinger to go back to Chicago. And my first thought process was, I tweeted out, I said, all right, this is it. It is go time for the Giants. The first bridge to the Boris 3, the floodgates are open. Whatever you want to say, it is go time, because that was the precedent. We were waiting for something to crack in the dam. We were waiting for something to happen all off season with the Boris clients, and Cody Bellinger was the first one to get a contract. Now, when you look at the contract and how it is very favorable for Cody Bellinger. I mean, 3 years, $80 million might sound like a lot to some people, and obviously it would be a lot for me. It'd be life changing if I was able to get that kind of money. But we aren't in we aren't in that profession. We aren't in baseball. It's a different entity. It's a different way of life. All right. So, anyways, that's a separate topic for another day. Cody Bellinger gets the 3-year, $80 million deal. And I just spark immediate excitement, not because, he's not going to the Dodgers, thank God. He's not going to another huge contender. The Cubs are someone that is going to factor in at some point towards the end of the year. And I think that they'll be involved in the wild card race, which I project the Giants to be in the thick of it in September. I think that that's the way that the thing is going to go this year, but we'll have to wait and see with the starting rotation. But Cody Bellinger goes to Chicago, and that just sparks excitement for me because what that means for the rest of the Boris 3. Again, if you want to include JD Martinez in the Boris 4, go ahead. That's your prerogative. I'm not going to do that. He is dead to me. Yeah, he is no longer here. And by the way, much happier that we got Jorge Soler. Happy birthday, by the way, Jorge. So Cody Bellinger signs, and now you look at the remaining 3, which is Blake Snell that the Giants could use, Jordan Montgomery that the Giants can use, and Chapman that the Giants can use. And now you look at it, and I'm just going to toss to this piece of sound that Farhan was on earlier this week with Murph and Marcus. And he pretty much, because earlier in the week, he talked about how there wasn't going to be, he didn't anticipate more signings this offseason. But then he came on KNBR airwaves and specified what he meant by those comments. Oh, all good, Raf. You still looking for it? All right, and this is Farhan. He was talking about what he meant about those comments earlier in the week. So Farhan comes out there and clarifies his comments, not necessarily shutting down additions, but it's that time of year where you have to pretty much gauge with what you have, evaluate, go into evaluation mode, because you can't go. And I understand that to a certain degree that you can't go into camp thinking, oh, well, we can sign this guy, because then you're not fully focusing on what you have in front of you, what you have control of. So I can definitely see the Giants going out there and signing one of the remaining three. But the question is for the San Francisco Giants, and I'll toss this out to the listeners. Hit me up on KNBR 1045 680. You can go ahead and hit me up on the text line. At 808 KNBR 415 808 KNBR. Hit me up on the text line. If you want to call in, go ahead and call in. We'll take calls. We'll see what's going on. But what is your biggest need? What out of the three? Blake Snell obviously would be the best, but he's probably going to be the most expensive. Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, Matt Chapman. I think that they definitely need to have another starter when you look at this starting rotation, because they are taking a big gamble. I do appreciate the effort, the continued effort of the Giants going in and trying to get the best out of their young players, and that is something that is really encouraging. You want to see what this farm system has to offer. But if I'm being honest, I mean, going into the year with a lot of young talent is a little bit of a gamble. I do believe in the arms that we have for the San Francisco Giants. You have Logan Webb, who is perennial all-star. I mean, he is the ace of this staff, finished second in Cy Young Award last year, and he's just only going to get better. I mean, he hasn't even peaked. Logan Webb is a stud. Then you look at everyone else behind him. Kyle Harrison goes today, and it figures that with him going right after Logan Webb, it figures that he is going to be the number 2 starter going into the regular season. And Kyle Harrison really impressed last year in his 7 starts for the San Francisco Giants. But there are still things that a young pitcher needs to learn. And a big concern for Kyle Harrison is that he hasn't gone deep into games, whether that was by design or whether that was, something that the farm system wanted to do with Kyle Harrison. That remains to be seen. But if it is by design, we will be seeing pitchers go deeper this year. That is something that Bob Melvin has harped on. That is something that Brian Price has harped on. That is a new pitching coach for the San Francisco Giants. He has said that they're going to ride starters deep into the year, or into their starts. They're going to ride them deep. And looking at Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, Keaton Wynn, Tristan Beck, this is all something that hasn't been done in their careers. And I'm talking about the minors. They haven't gone deep. And Kyle Harrison, he's only went past the 6th inning one time last year. That's in the minors and in Major League Baseball. So that's going to be a huge task for the Giants to overcome this year, especially if they want to take them deep. We're going to see what these kids are made of, and that's going to be very crucial to the success, especially waiting for Alex Cobb and waiting for Robbie Ray to come back from their injuries. But I'm asking you, Giants fans, who would you want from that Boris 4 or Boris 3 rather? Who would you want? I think that the pitching is a glaring need, and Blake Snell would be a huge addition to this team. And 510 on the text line says, I don't care about any other player besides Snell. The Giants need him bad. Webb needs the help. I agree that the Giants do need. I would love it to be Blake Snell, but what does that contract look like? Because you see what Bellinger gets, 3 years with multiple player opt-outs with the Chicago Cubs. So he is sitting pretty because he's getting $30 million this year, and he'll get $30 million next year if he opts in, or he'll get another contract somewhere else because he can opt out. It depends on how he performs. If he has a so-so year and doesn't prove it, like the Cubs, the executives are trying to have him do. If he doesn't prove it, then he opts in and he's locked in for $60 million for the next 2. That is smart for Cody Bellinger. But if he does prove it again and finish in a favorable position for the MVP voting, he finished 10th last year. If he does prove it again, that he can opt out and get another contract extension. Now, is that something that you are able to do with a Matt Chapman? Is that something that you're able to do with a Blake Snell, with a Jordan Montgomery? I would say that the contract would be a little bit different in that sense. You might have to throw more money and more years. And is that something that the Giants are willing to do? I mean, it looks like that isn't something that they want to do. But hey, if you can get Chapman for 3 to 4 years, 65 to 90 mil, obviously 90 being if he signs for 4 years, that I think that is a crucial signing for the San Francisco Giants, because that not only improves your defense that the Giants have been preaching, that not only improves your offense where everyone starts to slot into better positions in the lineup where they're better suited, and you have a Gold Glover. I mean, and I have to stress that having a perennial all-star on defense at the hot corner, especially with what they plan on doing with Marco Luciano going into 2024, giving him every opportunity to sink or swim, that is going to be crucial. If you have someone there that can back him up defensively, I think that takes a lot of the pressure off of a young guy that is taking over after arguably one of the greatest shortstops in San Francisco Giants history, when Brandon Crawford. So again, who is it that you would like for the Giants to sign? Blake Snell, I think, is would be very interesting. But again, contract situation, don't think that you can do something similar to Cody Bellinger's contract because they're a little older. Obviously, Cody Bellinger, I believe he's 28, so he'll be 29 if he opts out. He can get another big contract. Everyone else that's left, Chapman, Snell, and Jordan Montgomery, Chapman turns 31 in April. Everyone else is 31 years of age. So this is it. This is their contract. So it might be a little bit different, but if you throw in player opt-outs, I think that you can get this done. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the Giants do moving forward from the situation with Cody Bellinger, to see how the reaction is and how quickly the remaining Boris clients are going to sign. So 808 KNBR is the number on the text line as well. You can also shoot me a tweet, contact me on Twitter or I guess now it's called X. So go ahead and hit me up on that at Walleasy. We're on the Giants warm-up show, and we're going to talk about the Giants today because we have to look at what the Giants have in front of them, and a big portion of that comes in the form of the starting rotation, and that is Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison gets his first start of the spring. We're going to take a look at that and the rest of the starting rotation, and we'll do that on the other side. So you're listening to KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader. Welcome back to the Giants warm-up show. I'm your host, Walter Ikawalaseta. Again, hit me up on Twitter, on X, at Walleezy. That is WALLEEZZY. Go ahead and hit me up on there. Talk baseball today, tomorrow, all year, all season long, because I will be on the rotation for the Giants warm-up show with Kerry Crowley and John Dickinson all season long. So I look forward to talking to you all season. So we're going to take a look at the pitching lineup today and for the rest of the coming days, with Kyle Harrison getting the start today in Surprise, Arizona, taking on the world champion Texas Rangers. You have coming up in the next couple of days, you have Mason Black, who will be starting tomorrow, and Jordan Hicks starting on Tuesday. And that is going to be my next point of this conversation, to where we're going to be talking pitchers. And if you want to talk more pitchers later on today, after the game, Extra Innings with Bill Lasky, he will be speaking with Garvin Olson, who knows all about every single one of these guys. Mason Black, Keaton Wynn. He was up there in Sacramento as the pitching coach for the Sacramento River Cats. He has an interview. He will be talking with Garvin Olson all about the pitching prospects this year in spring training. New bullpen coach for the San Francisco Giants. So go ahead and listen to that. But right now, the conversation, as I mentioned, with the starting rotation, that is going to be the biggest point of emphasis, the biggest thing that everyone is going to be looking at this year, with the youth movement in full swing. And definitely, I mean, when you look at last year, you had Kyle Harrison, you had Keaton Wynn, you had Luis Matos, you had Patrick Bailey, Casey Schmidt. I mean, the youth movement is in full swing. And even this year as well, you look at the youth movement of Jung-Hoo Lee. You have Marco Luciano, who should be back tomorrow. We're going to get a good look at Luciano this spring. He will be taking over at shortstop for the 2024 season, or at least he will get every opportunity to do so. You have Tristan Beck, you have Carson Wisenhunt, Hayden Birdsong. I mean, the youth movement is going to continue for the remainder of spring. But again, what is the goal here for the San Francisco Giants? I think that they are trying to develop these guys, but also win games at the same time. That is something very difficult to do. You don't want to go full rebuild. You're not going to go full rebuild. You're not going to do that for the San Francisco Giants. But with these pitchers, when you look at what they've done over their careers, they are really young. They're very raw, but it is a talented group. I will say that. I mean, everyone is talking so highly of Hayden Birdsong. He came in two strikeouts yesterday, one walk, but 2 strikeouts. He looked very sharp in his spring debut. I think that he will be factoring in to the starting rotation at some point in the near future. We're going to take a look at Carson Wisenhunt at some point this spring. We're going to look at Keaton Wynn when he gets back from his elbow soreness. Hopefully everything goes well there. But it's a lot to put on Mason Black, a lot to put on Tristan Beck, a lot to put on Kyle Harrison, who is going to figure in to be the number 2 starter behind Logan Webb. It's going to be very interesting to see how much of the offseason has helped Kyle Harrison, because he has talked repeatedly over spending time at Papago with Logan Webb over the offseason, over the winter, just to get ready for the workload, because it has been said with Bob Melvin, with Brian Price, that they are going to need, it is a requirement for these starters to go deep in games. We're going to get back to baseball. It's not going to be necessarily everything thrown out of the computer. We're getting back to baseball. They're not going to be looking at the iPad. We are getting back to throwing deep and setting up your bullpen for success any given day, and also for the longevity of a season, because the bullpen was taxed heavily early in the year with the starters, with their overusage, to where in September they broke down. It wasn't the same group anymore. So this is Bob Melvin. He talks about Kyle Harrison getting every opportunity that he can get in year 2, and he looks forward to it. If Kyle Harrison can somehow replicate the success that Logan Webb has with the fastball changeup, and I know that this year he is planning on adding a cutter to his repertoire, but you hear it there with Bob Melvin. He is very excited for his deceptive heater. He has the devastating changeup, and he also has a really good breaking ball. So if you're able to add a cutter to the repertoire that he already has, it is going to be very crucial, very interesting to see the development of Kyle Harrison moving into the spring and into this regular season, where he will be relied on. He will be the 1B to Logan Webb. He is going to have to continue to set the tone for the rest of that starting rotation moving into the season. If the Giants want to have success, it is going to be on the shoulders of their young number 2 starter, Kyle Harrison, who goes today. So thank you for listening to the Giants warm-up show. It was a lot of fun. I look forward to doing this all season long. We have Giants baseball coming up on the other side with John Miller, with Dwayne Kuiper, and you have Kyle Harrison, number 2 starter for the San Francisco Giants, on the bump going against the Texas Rangers and Bruce Bochy. So Giants baseball coming up on the other side. You're listening to KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.